My name is Shelby Collins. I am 32 years old, and last March, my own father stood up in a courtroom, looked a judge in the eye, and told him I was not his daughter. He did not say I was mistaken. He called me a fake and a liar, a stranger who would appear out of thin air just to steal what he believed should be his. He was talking about my mother's life savings, her small house, and everything she had built over 41 years. He had a lawyer, a stack of papers, and a story he had spent weeks rehearsing. But he did not know about the sealed envelope sitting in my lawyer's bag, one that had come directly from the Pentagon, carrying proof of 15 years of my life that he had tried to pretend never happened. I live in Northern Virginia now, 12 minutes from where I work as a computer security specialist for a defense contractor. It is the kind of place where you badge in 3 times just to reach your desk. I wake at 5:15 every morning, have coffee by 5:22, and am at my desk before 7. 8 years in uniform will do that to you. The military teaches you to build a life out of structure, and I never let go of that habit. I joined the Army at 18, leaving home with a duffel bag and a high school equivalency certificate I had earned just 2 months before. My work was in military intelligence. The details belonged to sealed cabinets I will never see again, but I can tell you I was good at the work. I was quiet. I noticed small things, and I had spent 17 years learning how to read a room controlled by one person. That skill turned out to be useful. To understand the courtroom, you have to understand 1999. I was 17, just starting my senior year, holding a letter from the University of Virginia offering me a partial scholarship. I showed it to my mother, Ruth, first. She sat at the kitchen table and read it twice, moving her finger under every line. Her eyes got a little wet, but she did not let the tears fall. She just said, "This is good, Shelby. This is very good." Then my father, Gerald, came home. He ran a used car lot on Route 9, the kind of place that survived by helping people who could not get loans anywhere else. He read my letter standing up, did not sit down, did not smile. He told me college was a trick to take people's money and that he needed me at the lot. I told him I was going. He pushed the letter back across the counter with 2 fingers, like it was something dirty, and gave me a choice, work for him or leave. My mother stood to say something, and he told her to sit back down. She did. In that moment, I understood our house had only one person allowed to speak, and it was not either of us. I packed 1 backpack, jeans, 3 shirts, my scholarship letter, $42. Gerald stood in the hallway and did not try to stop me. He told me if I walked out, I was finished. No phone calls, no coming back. I walked out at 9:14 at night and did not look back once. I walked 2 miles in the dark to my Aunt Maggie's house. What I did not know until much later was that Ruth never stopped reaching out to me. She and I kept in touch through Maggie, who carried letters between us by hand. I would write to Ruth and send them to Maggie's address. Ruth would write back the same way. Gerald never thought to look. He assumed I was gone for good. He was wrong. I turned 18 at a bus station in Richmond, having spent 9 months at Maggie's place working at a gas station and finishing my equivalency tests. The day I passed, I walked into an Army recruiting office and signed before lunch. I was deployed overseas 4 times and received 2 commendations that have since been declassified. For 8 years, I existed inside a world of security clearances and buildings that do not appear on public maps. My life was not in civilian records because it was not supposed to be. Ruth was not a loud person. She worked as a hospital receptionist and made enough to cover the bills, but not much more. What she was extraordinary at was saving. $20 here, 50 there, 30 years of clipped coupons, all of it quietly deposited into an account Gerald never knew about. When my parents divorced, she kept the house. He kept the car lot and the debt. For 7 years, she raised me alone, and after I left, she kept a little blue metal tin under her bed. Inside were every letter I ever sent her, lined up by date. She told me once that she read each one when it arrived, and again every night before she slept. Gerald remarried a woman named Donna, 12 years younger than him, who was skilled at spending money they did not have. A new kitchen, a boat vacation. Credit cards Gerald did not know about until the bills arrived. By 2021, his lot was failing. Used car prices went up. People bought online, and his business partner Dave Mercer wanted back $120,000 he was owed. Gerald was desperate. Ruth found out she had lung cancer in September of 2024. The doctors gave her 6 months. She made it to 5. I flew back 3 times during those months, always driving in after dark, parking at Maggie's, meeting Ruth quietly. She did not want to be in a hospital. Nurses came twice a day. Maggie moved in for the final 3 weeks. I was on a plane from Dallas when she passed. Maggie's message was waiting when I landed. Ruth went peacefully at 4:12 in the morning, and she was proud of me. The funeral had 18 people. I sat in the back with Maggie. Gerald arrived in a dark suit, performing grief. Donna stood behind him in black and pearls, eyes moving around the room like she was calculating values. Gerald did not recognize me. 15 years changes a person, and he had stopped looking a long time ago. Ruth's was simple. She left everything to her daughter, the house, the porch with a rocking chair, and $217,000 saved over a lifetime of careful living. 2 weeks after the will was read, I received a letter from a lawyer named Victor Hargrove. Gerald was contesting the will. His argument was that I was an impostor, that the Rael Shelby Collins had vanished 15 years ago, and that a stranger had stolen her name to claim an inheritance. I read that letter 3 times. His case rested on a clean observation. I had not filed state taxes, registered to vote, or appeared in public records between 2012 and 2020. No social media, no utility bills, no paper trail. To someone not asking the right questions, it might look like I had never existed. But those years were not empty. They were spent serving the United States Army, documented in systems Gerald's lawyer never thought to check. I hired Rachel Whitfield, recommended by my old commanding officer. She was calm, organized, and immediately understood what Gerald was doing. He was not trying to win quickly. He was trying to wear me down until I paid him to disappear. Rachel told me we were going to let him build his whole case on the foundation that those 8 years did not exist, and then we were going to take that foundation apart. While we waited for the Department of Defense to verify my service records, Gerald and Donna were running a quieter campaign in town. They told people at the barber shop and the grocery store that a stranger had shown up to steal Ruth's money. Donna posted old photos of me online, asking people to pray for Gerald because of the impostor targeting him. People talked. Some believed them. An old neighbor I recognized on the street turned and walked away faster when she saw me. I stayed quiet. I had been trained not to show my cards early. Maggie gave me the blue tin box on a Sunday. Inside were all my letters, but also 39 letters Ruth had written to me and never sent. She had written about Gerald and Donna coming to the house, asking questions about her savings, circling. She knew exactly what they were waiting for. She had been protecting me for years without me knowing. Reading those letters made me cry in a way I had not cried in a long time. The morning of the hearing, I dressed in a navy jacket. The courthouse was old brick. Gerald and Donna arrived looking like they expected to win. Judge Abernathy had the face of a man who had seen every version of a lie. Gerald took the stand and performed the role of a wounded father, a sad man being robbed by a stranger who had stolen his daughter's identity. Donna wiped her eyes at the right moments. Victor, their lawyer, pointed to years of missing records and told the judge that people simply do not vanish for 8 years without a reason. Then it was our turn. Rachel did not begin with documents. She began with questions. She made Gerald admit on the record that he had never once tried to find me in 15 years. No phone call, no missing persons report, nothing. He grew red and started shouting that I was a fake. The judge told him to sit down. Rachel handed the sealed envelope to the judge. The room went quiet. Judge Abernathy read for a long time. The envelope contained my full military record, fingerprints, DNA, a complete timeline of 8 years of service, the commendations, the deployments, everything. Rachel also placed a blue tin box into evidence, showing that Ruth and I had maintained contact through all those years, that she had always known where I was, and that she had chosen me clearly and deliberately in her will. The judge looked at me and asked if I had anything to say. I stood up, looked directly at my father, and told him, "You erased me first." He had no answer for that. Judge Abernathy ruled that I was without question Shelby and Collins, and that the was stood in full. He also announced he would be referring Gerald's lawyer to the Bar Association for professional misconduct. Outside the courthouse, Gerald tried to speak to me. He said he was desperate, that the money problems had pushed him to it. I told him he had made his choice tonight. He watched me walk out the door and said nothing. I told him I hoped he found his way, but that we were done. I drove to Ruth's house alone. I sat in the rocking chair on the porch and listened to the creek on the left side. The garden needed water. The street was quiet. My mother had not just saved money over 41 years. She had saved proof that I was real, that I was hers, that I had never truly left. The letters, the tin box, the will, all of it was her way of saying what she could not always say out loud. This is my story. A daughter, a father who decided to forget her, and a mother who never once did.